Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. Tactical Bacon 00 here, taking a quick look at the Stanley Parable. Stanley Parable is a game, where you live out the story of Stanley, or you do not. It is all up to you. It's very, very difficult to explain, but I will do my best in this quick look. I'll also let the narrator do a little bit of explaining also. As always, let's take a quick look at the options menu. Audio settings, separate volume sliders, very good. Sound quality, full captioning, which is absolutely fantastic. Very much appreciated. Video settings, you can run it however the heck you want. It's very, very nice. You can adjust the FOV, adjust the aspect ratio, resolution, display mode, and borderless windowed, full screen, or regular windowed. And of course, all of the wonderful, wonderful advanced settings that are allowed to you by the Source engine. This game is developed in Source, so you can expect all of that wonderfulness. In fact, parts of the game actually rely on you having access to the console here in order to access them. So, let's go ahead and start the game. I'll shut up and let the narrator do a little bit of explaining. Loading. The end is never, the end is loading. And still loading. Here we go.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
And here we go. The narrator in this game, however, is very reminiscent of the narrator in Bastion, where he narrates everything that you do. And also, I believe it is the same narrator from Thomas Was Alone. Very, very talented narrator. Everything in this game comes down to a choice. Whether you will do something or whether you will not do it. Such as stepping out of this office. There's a choice. You can end the game right now. You can never step out of your office. You can just close the door. But that's not a very interesting video. So I'm going to go ahead and step out of the office.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
So the game drops you here in his mysterious office. And what you can do from there is you can follow the narrator's directions, you can go where you want to go, you can go anywhere else, you can turn people's computers off that you find laying around, you can read some of the flavor text. In fact, some of the text is so very well rendered that you can actually read all of the flavor text of papers that are on the floor. Knowing your city, and you can read all that if you want to. I'm not going to. All the clocks work. It's really, really amazing. So you're just going through the office, just figuring out what's going on. And then you come to a choice.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Or he did not listen to the narrator, and he did the opposite.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
It's very, very, very well narrated. I very much appreciate this.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
The best part of this game is that it gives you so many choices.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
So I decided that I would take the right door instead of the left door, like the narrator wanted me to. Now the narrator is telling me he took the first door on his left. If I take that door, there's an elevator off to the left, or I could go straight and continue the story. Or I could ignore both of those choices and just go straight on.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
As a matter of fact, I can do whatever I want. Every single room has multiple choices that can be made that affect the outcome differently. For instance, I could jump off right here and end the game just like that, and that is a legitimate ending. I could step on this platform and I could ride it to the top of the wall over there. I could jump off halfway and go onto the catwalk. And then there's a whole different adventure over there. There's all adventures up there. There's a story down here. There's story absolutely everywhere with every little decision that you make.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing
You can
in your
even make
trust
the
in
narrator
someone else can be
angry by
difficult,
interrupting him
but
in the middle of a
fact is that
sentence.
the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
I'm going to
Please,
jump.
Stop trying to make every decision. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Essentially, the game is a giant story tree. I played through this entire game and its demo. The demo is free and available on Steam for absolutely no cost whatsoever, and it is an entirely separate story. Even if you have played the full game, I highly recommend playing the demo just by itself, simply because it adds so much to the story.
Stanley decided
The
to
demo
go to
is
the meeting
absolutely
room. Perhaps
fascinating.
he had simply missed a memo.
But I don't know how many endings there are. I believe I've seen all of them, but I could be wrong. Because every single decision that you
Stanley
make
came to a set of 2 open doors.
is
He
totally
entered the
crazy.
door on his left.
So I could go in the door on my left.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
And now,
Wow. Yes. This room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room.
they even give
Thank
it
goodness Stanley
different
had taken
text
this detour
so
on
that
his
no matter
way
how
to
many
the
times you replay it,
Life without
it
having
doesn't get boring.
experienced this room
It's
was now too
absolutely
horrible
fascinating.
even to consider.
They put so much work and detail into all the narration and all the choices that you could possibly
Eager
make.
To get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
So there was a choice back there. I jumped off. I figured that that was the best decision I could have made without spoiling too much of the story. So, let's see, what else could I do? I think I'm going to listen to the narrator this time. I'm going to take the door on my left, like he said.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I don't think he walked through the opposite door. I think he's going to take the elevator here. Everything is a choice.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
And it even comes down to the narrator
Oh, no.
getting
No,
confused.
it's to the right, my mistake.
It's absolutely wonderful.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
So I don't want to spoil it too much more.
Right, left.
I believe the best way to play this game is to experience it for yourself. Go ahead and pick it up on Steam. It is $14.99 or your regional equivalent. Highly, highly recommended. If you want, you can beat the entire game in under 4.5 minutes. I've spent over 6 hours playing this game, and I still feel that it is absolutely fantastic. I love this game so much. Thank you all very much for watching. This has been Tactical Bacon 00 taking a quick look at the Stanley Parable. I'll see you next time. Bacon out!